Hello and welcome to this series, Gibbons Auditorium, a quick guide. In this video, we will be focusing on using the Auditorium projector. By the end of this video, you should be able to turn on the system, lower and raise the projector screen, switch between inputs, run sound through the board, and I will give a few suggestions on lighting while you're projecting. Feel free to use the timestamps to jump directly to a topic that would most benefit you. Let's get started. Turning on the system. The projector in the auditorium, much like the projectors in the gyms, are a bit different than the ones in your classrooms. Before you can power on the projector itself, you first need to power on the rack in the center back of the booth. Flip this switch here by the green piece of tape. The projector is connected to this component here labeled Kramer. The remote for the projector usually sits on top of this rack. Using the remote, push the power button to turn on the projector. The red light on the front of the projector will begin blinking and then turn green to indicate that it is working. I typically ask someone else to stand outside the booth and watch the light while I turn it on, since you can't see the light from inside. This is fairly straightforward, but sometimes getting this to work is tricky. It usually takes a few minutes of trying before I'm successful. Here are some things I try when it isn't working right away. Try unplugging the cord attached to the remote and replugging it in. Try holding this cord into the remote while you're pushing the power button. Try to aim in the direction of the projector and get as close to it as you can from inside the booth. You can try unplugging entirely and using the remote from outside the booth. Of course, you can also try to change the batteries in the remote. Sometimes this system just takes a few seconds to recognize that the power button has been switched. Try waiting a few seconds after your attempt to see if it was successful. The projector screen. This button on the wall of the booth will lower the projector screen for you. Please keep an eye out as the screen is lowering. Sometimes for plays or concerts, we tie up the choir mics above the stage to the catwalk above the audience, right in the path of the screen. We don't want anything in the way as it's lowering. There also is potential for ladders, set pieces, and other things on stage to interfere. Switching between input options. Once the projector is turned on, the screen is lowered, and you can see that it is projecting. There are several ways you can connect. There is an airtime in the sound booth that you can cast to, or you can hardwire into either the input in the booth or backstage. Starting in the booth, the HDMI input is just to the right of the screen button. Typically, the airtime is plugged into this input. If you'd like to hardwire in here, you can unplug it. Just make sure to reattach it when you are finished. There is an extra HDMI cord for you to use, along with a bag of adapters, connectors, and other cords in the cabinet at the end of the booth. Whichever you decide to do, if you are using this input in the booth for the airtime or hardwire, make sure that the booth input on the Kramer system in the rack has been selected and is lit up red. If you are planning to project from the stage, you can of course connect to the airtime and bring your computer or iPad to the front. But there is also a second hardwire input backstage behind the main curtain. There is a long HDMI cord attached to this port that can be pulled out to reach most of the stage and the front rows of the audience. If you are plugging in here, make sure that the stage input on the Kramer is lit up red and turned on. Again, this system has its quirks. Sometimes, despite being plugged in correctly, inputs don't seem to connect the first try. If this happens to you, make sure that you have the right input selected here, and then turn the Kramer system in the power rack on and off using this green power switch here. Typically, when this restarts, it automatically connects again to the input lit up red in the center. There are also other input options on the remote you can toggle between to try and find your screen. Running sound through the soundboard. The sound from the projector is connected directly into the soundboard. First, you will need to turn the soundboard on by following the green piece of tape to the back of the system and pressing in the small button here. Our board has multiple layers of inputs, and the projector is in the top layer. To get there, press this button here labeled Top, and a blue button will appear. Channel 1 controls the projector volume. You can adjust it further by using the main volume slider here to the right. Lighting while projecting. Finally, when you are using the projector, you don't want bright lights to shine directly on the screen. Unfortunately, some of our preset light looks do throw light onto a lowered screen. The speaker look from the wall panel or the assembly look are the best choices to avoid this. You can also adjust individual sliders from the wall panel if they are hitting the screen. However, figuring out which light may take some trial and error. You can also turn on the light board and individually control the lights as you'd like. For more information on the wall panel or the light board systems, check out other videos in this quick guide series. This concludes our video about the projection system. Here are a few things to remember. The remote is tricky. Be patient. Watch for cords, strings, and obstructions when lowering the screen. You can connect to the system in both the booth, backstage, or by using the air tank. Turning the Kramer system off and on again often fixes input connection issues. You must be in the top layer of the board to adjust the sound volume. You should now be able to lower the screen, power on the system, connect from other input options, and run your sound through the sound system. If you are looking for more information about running other pieces of the technical system, explore other videos in this quick guide series. Thanks for watching.